Did you guys miss the early days of ETH when ETH DeFi came out with 2020 DeFi Summer and some of these early NFTs like CryptoPunks, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and a bunch of other gems that ended up doing like thousands of X's? Well, you guys don't want to miss Bitcoin DeFi. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of these charts of early ERC20s as well as some of the NFTs. This was Aave. Aave at one point, it was actually around 10 bucks, not around 30. At its peak in DeFi summer, it went to 600 bucks. That's massive. That's a 63x if you got it at $10. And some people got it lower than that. Now, another one would be Compound. This one, you could have just farmed it completely free. No cost, no charge. And, well, I mean, how do you calculate the gains off of zero and selling at $1,000 at its peak or 800 bucks? You can't calculate that. That's infinite returns. Or even synthetics. Buying this thing around, I don't know, 50 cents and selling this thing around 25 bucks, massive gains. Or better yet, let's get into NFT land with Bored Ape Yacht Clubs. Let's say you minted this thing and stinking rode it all the way up to the top to 150 ETH. That's astronomical gains. Again, you can't calculate these returns. Well, you can calculate them, but trying to theorize and look at these returns and be like, wow, I definitely expected it to do that. Well, no. With several of the early ETH NFTs as well as these ERC20 tokens, nobody expected these massive gains. So in today's video, I want to share with you guys a couple of picks on Bitcoin, some BRC20s that I'm looking at, as well as some of these ordinals that I think will do well. Not financial advice, of course. I'm going to explain my reasons behind it, as well as give you guys a multi-point checklist that you guys can use on your research journey when you guys are looking for different ordinals or BRC20s or even SBRC. Of course, there's even SRC20s as well. But again, we're in the early stages of Bitcoin DeFi, so let's go ahead and start with some of these ordinals. Now, some of these ordinal collections, they are trading at massive premiums. And for now, at least they seem like a premium, but who knows? If we have more liquidity flowing into Bitcoin, which I do believe that we will, there will be more gains to be made in these. Let's go and compare the market caps. This is just the BRC20 market cap compared to ETH. You have 848 million, actually it's around $500 million in BRC20 market cap. For ERC20s, it's 159 billion. So you have millions and then you have billions. Massive comparison. Now let's compare Bitcoin to ETH. The market cap of Bitcoin is over $500 billion. The market cap of ETH is not even $250 billion. So the Bitcoin market cap is twice the size, and it's more than 159x difference in size, like to catch up to. So ETH ERC20s are 159x, well actually 159x plus. Actually, it's more like 310x than the Bitcoin BRC20 market cap. And then on top of that, you have Bitcoin's actual market cap being twice the size of ETH. What this relates to is that the TAM for this is much larger than ETH. You have more potential to flow into these BRC20s because Bitcoin has a larger market cap. And then you also have more potential because there's already a ton of growth that's been made in ETH ERC20s. They're in the billions, and the BRC20s aren't even in the millions. Crypto is a rotator, and it's a PvP environment, especially right now. Now in a bull market, it's a little bit different. But right now, liquidity likes to cycle to the next new narrative. And in my opinion, Bitcoin is going to be one of those narratives. So the same signs that we had on the early days of Ethereum with ETH DeFi and NFTs, the same thing is happening over on Bitcoin. There are also going to be a bunch of airdrops to the early adopters and early users. So make sure you are one of those early users and early adopters and playing around with these different protocols. You will get handsomely rewarded, not financial advice. Just think Arbitrum. If you made a couple swaps, played around with a couple protocols, you made a couple $1,000. And if you did a lot of swaps and played around with a lot of it, you got a couple, several $10,000 airdrops. So just something to keep in mind. So just going over some of these collections, there are a bunch of them I actually like, but I narrowed it down to a couple of them. The first one has to do with Ordinals wallet, and this has to do with a group of them. They have the Pixel Pepes, they have the Clay Pepes, they have the Soy Pepes, and they have the Space Pepes. And then you have the Pixel Mums. You don't have to go nuts and ham and play around with all these, but in my opinion, just analyzing the different collections. Of course, if you look at Pixel Pepes, these guys have already popped off. If you got, I don't know, 0.22 Bitcoin just to play around and use, obviously this is going to be one of those that has like the first mover advantage. Me, I'm not extremely bullish on the Pixel Pepes, especially with the listed ratio to the supply. This is getting close to the 30% mark. You want to look for something that's at least under 10%. That's one of the metrics to keep in mind. I'll go over these metrics later, but you guys can see a quick snapshot. This is kind of like the checklist that I use. But going back to the Pixel Pepes, this is already at 0.23 Bitcoin. So it's, I don't know, like 8,000 bucks, 9,000 bucks. And if you were playing around with Ordinals wallet and you simply just made a transaction here, you would have got this airdrop to you for free, like entirely free. All you had to do is make a transaction. You got a free Pixel Pepe. Good for you. You use 3 wallets. You got 3 of these. 30,000 bucks. Have fun. Awesome. Now, this was a airdropper. I'll go over the details on Ordinals wallet and the future airdrops that they have. You can check out the previous video, and also if you're in the Discord, I give you guys some updates with other protocols that I'm looking at that will give you guys some airdrops. So if you guys want to check those out, links in the description below, the Patreon link in order to get access to the exclusive Discord. So this is Pixel Pepe. This is 0.23 Bitcoin basically. Now, there are others in this collection. Based on the risk to reward and the supply, as well as, of course, the art, me personally, the one that I like the most is the Soy Pepes. And I'll explain why, but let me go over the Pixel Mums. Of course, you got Pixel Mums, 263, a total supply of 1563, great, whatever. 0.01 Bitcoin for the floor price. And then you got the Space Pepes. It does have a 0.00149 floor price, but it also has a significant amount in the supply. There's 17,400 compared to the Pixel Mums and the Soy Pepes. Again, the Soy Pepes are only 1,500. So if you go over to the Space Pepes, it's trading at 0.00149, but you need to multiply this by 10 technically, actually more like 12. So these are actually trading at 0.014, or actually basically call it 0.02 Bitcoin, just based on the supply and the floor price. Now, that's not saying it won't keep going up more. In fact, it's one of the earlier, I wouldn't call it earlier NFTs, but it's one of the earlier Ordinals wallet NFTs. The very first one, of course, was the Pixel Pepes. And you can tell by the inscription number, it's sub 200,000. If you get below 100,000, that's even better. The Space Pepes, this one isn't like the earliest, but at least it's sub 1 million for a good portion of them. And then you even have the Pixel Mums under 1 million. I don't really like the art on this one, so that's kind of why I was passing on this one. And it's kind of like whatever. And the Space Pepes, these were kind of cool. Just going based on the risk to reward, the Soy Pepes seem to be the best value in my opinion. But if you do have some extra Bitcoin, grabbing a couple Space Pepes, why not? It's going to relate to the Ordinals wallet. This is all kind of like the same narrative, same community type of thing. This is under Ordinals wallet. So Ordinals wallet is successful, which I do believe they will be. If you take a look at the volume of the NFTs, they have a massive amount of it. You can see here, they're the purple section. This is the unique users. And then also, if you just take a look at the volume by marketplace, yeah, sure, you see Unisat doing pretty well and Magic Eden. But if you go back a bit, you can see Ordinals wallet was a massive share of this. You can also take a look over here. This is a massive share. Now, keep in mind, Unisat shows up very large over here because they're also in BRC20s. And BRC20s have been popular for the past, I don't know, 2 weeks or so. And you can see the volume shown in this. But for the most part, Ordinals wallet is one of the best for the NFTs. And they did just have a recent fix to the gas, which in my opinion is pretty bullish. And then you also have Clay Pepes, which is part of their collection. So again, this is all in one collection. You have the Clay Pepes, Space Pepes, you have the Pixel Pepes, and then you have the soy pepes, and then of course the pixel mums. Clay pepes, I mean, they're great. I just not super bullish on them. But going into the categories of what I was discussing with you guys earlier, you want to look for a good story / narrative. In my opinion, it has a good story and narrative because it's around the Ordinals wallet, and Ordinals wallet was kind of like the first mover in the space that got a lot of traction around Bitcoin Ordinals and the marketplace for people to use. And then of course you got the Pepe the Frog is massive. Just comparing it to the other memes like Doge, Shib, whatever, it has a strong narrative and it has a strong community. Why? Because the Pixel Pepe, this was airdropped to people. People were happy about this. Same thing with these soy pepes. These weren't airdropped to people, but anyone can mint it, and people were handsomely rewarded for minting it. You could have minted this for basically the network fee and $25. Now, I will say some of the network fees were pretty costly back then, and I even made a tweet about this. This was just buying like a BRC20. This is when gas fees were cheap, and I was thinking paying $53 for a transaction fee when it was supposed to be like $10. This has been fixed recently, but Ordinals wallet was taking care of their community and holders were making a lot of money. So this creates this strong community. It has a good story / narrative. I mean, you can't fade Pepe and Pepe the Frog. I mean, just think about the meme coin is just going nuts and ham. So you have the first two boxes checked about off. Third, memeability. It's a meme. You can't fade it. Crypto Twitter is full of Pepe the Frog. Like anywhere you go, you just see Pepe. Fits that. The art, I love the art. The art is great. I mean, of course you got Pixel Pepes and Space Pepes, but I mean, dude, you can't even see what this Pixel Pepe looks like. I mean, sure, it's cool art, but you can't see it. But then you compare it to Clay Pepe. I actually do like the art on this. And then you got Space Pepe. The arts on this is also pretty cool. But if you take a look at these soy pepes, they're in high definition, at least it seems. And the art is also cool. And it's a reasonable price. Of course, it was actually trading at this cheaper, much cheaper than this. It was actually trading around 0.005 Bitcoin, so half this price. And a bunch of these NFTs that I'm going to be mentioning on here, if you guys were in the Discord, you would have gotten at lower prices. Or just on Twitter, I make a couple mentions on them. I just like the art on this, and it checks the art box, which is also another factor in the art. The higher the resolution, the more it would have cost to inscribe because of the data on Bitcoin. The higher the resolution, the more you have to pay in order to inscribe it. It's just more of a data burden on Bitcoin, so it costs more. Then you got the holder to buyer ratio, and then the inscription number. So here's the deal with soy pepes. They don't have a low inscription number. They're actually in the millions. But I like the supply ratio. I like the community behind it, and it has a pretty good ratio for the amount listed in the total supply. Now, of course, these picks are in no particular order. This is actually, if I was to choose an order, this would be fourth on the list. That's the soy pepe and the thesis behind it. Now, next we got the Bitcoin frogs. In my opinion, this would actually be between my second and third choice that I would choose. The very first one I would choose is Bitcoin Machine, but we'll go into that later. Now, Bitcoin frogs, it doesn't have a small supply, but it does have a low inscription count. As you can see, inscription number, that's the 6th. Now, the art is also pretty good. I like the art on the Bitcoin frogs. It's also a higher resolution. It's got a little bit of pixelation, but it's a pretty good resolution, so it costs a bit to put the collection on Bitcoin. They got a 10,000 supply. The listed ratio to the supply is extremely good. This is a little over 2%. That's really not bad at all. Floor price has been screaming too. It's been doing extremely well, and the meme around this is rivet narrative type of thing. The time to buy this was at 0.025. Now, in my opinion, it's best to look for dips on this, but we'll see what happens on it if it will get a dip. There's a very small supply in there, so there's a really small float, so this thing is going to be extremely volatile. So it has the good holder to buyer ratio. It has a good inscription number, good art, it's memeability, it's got the frog, and it's got a strong community. Why? Because it made the community a lot of money. If you want a strong community, make your community some money. And the floor price has been doing extremely well. and it's also got a good story and narrative. I've seen several of the frogs that are on Twitter that are hosting several spaces, and of course the classic saying is rivet, rivet. And whenever they say that, people are like, oh snap, it's the Bitcoin frogs, and that's what people get behind that. So if you hear that in like any of the spaces, rivet, rivet, that represents the Bitcoin frog. So they have the memeability and they have the quote unquote theme song, if you want to call it that. And that actually goes back to soy pepes. It was Gui Gua or Gua G. I don't even know how to say it. Gua Gua. But yeah, that's, or Guga Guga. That's basically the theme song of the soy pepes. And also, that's one other thing I wanted to mention about the soy pepes. You can see here, these actually minted out extremely quick, but if you take a look at the network fees and the costs that some of these people paid just based on the gas fees in order to mint this, because this was kind of like one of the first minters with Ordinals wallet, is that they were paying like, I don't know, a nuts and ham on these sats. So if you take a look at this, you're technically getting it at the same price people minted it at. If you look, these guys are paying around, I don't know, 0.01 Bitcoin, and these things are trading at 0.011 Bitcoin. That's why I like the risk to reward on it, because a lot of people had to pay more on this, whereas something else that was completely airdropped, it's like, whatever. So you have less people who are in a massive profit because they were able to get it so cheap. Sure, they were able to get it extremely cheap, like the cost, it was free, well, $25 and the gas fee, but the stinking gas fees and the minting cost was just much more on there. You can see here, service fee, $26. So it was people using the Ordinals mint service. I wanted to add that in, sorry. Now, one other narrative I want to add to the Bitcoin frogs is that these guys were minted on the Lightning Network. So it also has like a little bit of a narrative that it's kind of like, oh, okay, these guys were saving some of the holders some money, and they did a unique mechanism to mint out their token. And of course, they also have a pretty strong Twitter following. They have about 16.6K followers, and they got a bunch of these other, I guess you can say, shillers, the other holders that shill on Twitter Spaces and talk to people about it. And if you take a look at Ordinals wallet also has a really strong following, because Ordinals wallet and the Pepes is kind of their theme song. These guys are constantly posting these out. So you got 77,000 followers and one of the OGs in the space. So you can think Ordinals wallet, Pepes, Soy Pepe, Space Pepe, Pixel Pepe. You could just think all these Pepes. And seeing the success of Pixel Pepe, some people will be like, wow, it already went to, it actually at one point it went almost to half a Bitcoin. People were like, whoa, a Soy Pepe is only 0.01 Bitcoin? I could definitely see it getting at least 0.1 Bitcoin, because it's got the similar supply. It's just that type of memeability on it. Now, the next one I want to get into is Doge Punks. Take a notice of the following. They have about 10,000 followers. And if you take a look at the Doge Punks, yeah, of course, the prices are much higher than when I bought into some of these. And I did share this with the Discord as well when it was a lower price. But this is just one of the NFTs that I like, mainly because it has a good narrative. Of course, you even have the memeability. I mean, Dogecoin, CryptoPunks, those are both extremely viral memes in crypto Twitter, and most people can relate to those. And then, of course, if you take a look at the checklist, you got the strong community. The reason why it's a strong community, you've made the holders a lot of money, and people can relate with it. And you also have the art. The art is really not bad. Of course, it's a little bit pixelated. It's whatever. But that's the CryptoPunk vibe. And really having something that's Doge Punks and is OG, not like a CryptoPunk on Bitcoin that is literally just a copy. This is actually something new and original that's released on Bitcoin. That is also one of those other things I wanted to add to the checklist, but I just kept it at 6 points. I wanted something that was original. Having something that's original on Bitcoin tends to do much better than something that is just like a fork. Just think Sushi Swap on all these different chains compared to, I don't know, Quick Swap on Polygon. It did much better than a fork like Sushi Swap. Now, of course, Quick Swap is a fork of Uniswap, but still, it was its own original product, and it just wasn't a Sushi Swap on a different chain. The holder to buyer ratio is also extremely healthy. If you take a look at the amount listed in the total supply, it's less than 4%. So I would call it like 3%, but it's 3.72%. It's really not bad at all. That's actually extremely good. The inscription number, it's not super low, but it's definitely sub 1 million. You can see here it's 383,632 to 641,000. Now, if you compare that to something like the crypto frogs, if you take a look, 0.017 Bitcoin. And if you take a look at the crypto frogs are currently trading at it's more. It's like 0.72, but we'll just call it 0.067. And it has a similar inscription number. It also has a strong narrative and community similar to the crypto frogs. So in my opinion, if you had to choose, I like the crypto Doge punk, or not crypto, but the Doge punks risk to reward ratio better for them. And that gets me into the last one, which is the BTC machine assets. You have the BTC machines, you have the operators, you also have BTC land. You got a bunch of these different assets on Ordinals wallet. Bitcoin land, this thing has been going astronomical. These guys have several different assets. If you take a look at the Bitcoin machine ecosystem, you got the operators, you got the viruses, you got the mutant operator, you got like your own audio track, you got the OG BTC cards, you got some of the BTC gods, you got some of the mutant machines, you got mutant survivors, you got a bunch of these different assets. Now, here's the cool thing about BTC machine. Any of the main original holders of the Bitcoin machines, which are their main thing, you got airdropped a ton of these assets. These guys are airdrop happy. So if you guys want to keep getting some airdrops, it's probably in your best incentive to grab some of these BTC machine assets. They literally just airdrop people. This is an announcement today. They're airdropping some BRC20 tokens. The ZBIT token, this was airdropped to a bunch of their holders. The BTC operators, these were airdropped to the machine holders. The viruses, these were also airdropped. These different assets down here, Bitcoin land, artifacts, survival gear, all of this was literally airdropped to different holders. These guys are airdrop happy. They make a bunch of money for a bunch of people. It's an OG collection. It's original. It's memeable. And of course, it's doing extremely well. You can see here the floor price is holding well. And in my opinion, based on the airdrops and what they're doing, if you can get dips on this, great. I don't have a Bitcoin machine. I passed on this at 0.02 Bitcoin. I was not really into NFTs. I wasn't going with the vibes. But man, this has a low inscription number. It literally checks all of the boxes. It has a low inscription number, a good story, a strong narrative. It has an extremely strong community. If you go in their Discord, people are popping off messages literally every single second. Every single community member that has been an OG holder has been handsomely rewarded. It's memeable. It's a Bitcoin machine. It's got a strong story. I mean, you can go to the Bitcoin machine story, go back, and just read this. I mean, you take a look at the Bitcoin storyline, or BTC machine storyline, and it's like, in a distant corner, it basically just read the thing. And it's like operators are bound to the machines, and together they form an intricate and delicate. It's got a storyline. People can follow the story. They understand it. It's like, oh, this is cool. This actually adds up. This fits. The art is good. I mean, look at the BTC machines and take a look at the different operators and survivors. These are cool. I think these are cool, especially this guy. This guy looks funky, man. And I don't even know what's going on with this guy. They're like little Legos. I love this, man. This is like, brings back, I guess, nostalgia back in the old days with different Lego pieces and like the pixelated art in different collections. It's got a storyline around it. It just has a good story. The art's good as well. The holder to buyer ratio, this is extremely healthy, especially for the BTC machines. The amount of machines on the market, it's around 10%. And at one point, it was much less than that. This is after they were going airdrop happy. This is a really good ratio for this type of asset. Take a look at the BTC operators. It's even better. So 40 listed out of 777. And then if you take a look at the inscription number for both of these, the BTC machines is extremely good. The operators is a little bit further down the road, but factor in, these things were airdropped to BTC machine holders for free. Anyways, guys, this video is getting pretty long. We should probably get into BRC20s as well. Now I'll continue on with this in another video, but the TLDR on the different protocols that you need to use for these different airdrops is 1. You need to play around with the Ordinals wallet. Ordinals wallet already gave several different hints on Twitter saying, hey, how cool would it be if we airdropped our token holders? If you check out some of the previous videos, I shared some information on that. Same thing with Unisat. Play around with this, use this, mint some BRC20s, get some points, use the marketplace, buy, sell. Doesn't matter. Like, just do it with like peanuts. Like, do small tokens and do it when gas fees are low. And in my opinion, you'll be handsomely rewarded. It will be similar to Arbitrum. Then you also got Stacks. So Stacks, with Alex Labs, they actually launched their own little BRC20 thing. If you bridge over here and make the deposit into the pool right here, it's making me sign whatever, I don't care. When you deposit into here after bridging over, you are entitled to receive a portion of some of the BRC20s that they have over there. Playing around with this, using this early, it's lower gas fees. Having a order book instead of like a NFT style marketplace, just using these things is going to handsomely reward early users and adopters, in my opinion. Play around with it, use it. Same thing with Unisat. So you got Ordinals wallet, buy some NFTs, swap, even have BRC20s. They have a little thing that they have minting out. Make sure you guys mint one of the BRC20s. It was like a little token that you had to mint. I shared it in the Discord in the airdrop section. Let me see what we got. We'll go to airdrops real quick. Yeah, here it is. Make sure you guys mint this. Just do it. Why not? You basically, it'll do something. Maybe it won't. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's worth it. Just mint one. See what happens. It could potentially be a qualification for one of it. It's cheap, especially when gas fees are low. It's like $3 on the Bitcoin gas fee, and then you can get one of their BRC20 tokens. So you got Ordinals wallet, you got Stacks, and you got Unisat. Make sure you use them, play around with them. And then the last one I want to share with you guys is bestinslot.xyz. This, I wouldn't call it an airdrop, but it does have a really cool tool that shows you where to get the best prices. It aggregates all of these NFTs. Now, it's not always up to date, but you can click and you can take a look and see who has the lowest prices for what. So if you go on here on Doge, it'll take you to Ordinals wallet to proceed with the purchase. But you can see here, it's a really cool tool. It allows you to get lower prices, but it's bestinslot.xyz. And you can go ahead and check this out. If this is the type of content you like, and if you guys enjoy looking into different things in DeFi and other channels are not talking about, that's what you can expect to get here. Tell me what you guys think of the video in the description below. And if you like information like this before I even share it on YouTube, and as well as some information I don't even share on YouTube, you guys can check out the Discord. The exclusive Discord is the Patreon link in the description below. It will allow you to kill 2 birds with 1 stone as well. Get some alpha as well as supporting the channel. We'll see you guys in the Discord. Let's hit you guys with that wisdom one-liner. We're going to hit you guys with Proverbs chapter 10 verses 6. Blessings crown the head of the righteous, but violence overwhelms the mouth of the wicked. Be good, be righteous. Peace.